But we have a big heat coming up now, heat 8 of round 3. Jeremy Flores up against Josh Kerr, and it is a heat that we broke down on the morning show just the other day. Ross Williams, these two very evenly matched, both very strong backhand tube riders. And during the interview, Josh Kerr, he showed us some of that backhand tube riding flair, picking off this one, getting spat out, and then driving out onto the open face to try and set up a nice little inside section here. No major turns, but the tube was pretty nice, and it's a good start for Kerr. The funny thing is about these two, when they have met at those heavy water locations, Josh has gotten the jump on Jeremy. When it's been in the barrels, here goes Jeremy now, finding a bit of cover. So that's going, obviously working on Josh's side.
Yeah, I think so. You know, for Jeremy Flores, you know, in terms of a whole scope of a career, here we go, live action, Roddy.
Well, this is Josh stalling for that barrel, enjoying the view as he still rolls through the pit and just punches through the curtain at the bottom of that ride. Bit of foam on the face here, but it won't stop him from committing to a couple of turns. Bit of style added to that last move. 28.5 minutes to go. Kerr's going to be out in front.
When a matchups is like this, you know, it really comes down to who can be in the right spot at the right time. And so far, we're in kind of a locked horns here with these two guys. And again, just like Kelly Slater and a handful of guys, both of these surfers in the water right now, they're going to optimize the conditions running.
Really focusing on the barrel, Josh Kerr. And that's probably his strength on the backhand. I'd say Jeremy maybe has a little bit more to offer with his backhand turns.
Yeah, I would agree. Jeremy a little more aggressive with his backhand maneuvers. You know, he's not afraid to throw his board right up into it. He can lay down some pretty big tracks, but both these guys right now with the waves, they're amazing right now. The conditions are pretty much as good as it gets.
32 years of age, 27th on the ratings. He was in a much better position the previous 2 years. So Josh really looking to turn things around here at stop 5. Not overdoing it on those backhand carves. Looks like he's happy just to let these long walls stretch out. Here we go, Flores. He's going to drop to the bottom of this one. Grabs that rail. Sets up a solid top turn to get started. Now looking to stall for the tube. Really great control. He does find some cover. This wave starting to slow up a little bit, but Jeremy committed to adding points down the line. He wants to improve on a 5 to narrow the requirement at this stage. But you can see Jeremy, I think much like Kelly Slater, just when that lip starts to fall, he's still making these subtle adjustments to ensure that he gets maximum cover.
I don't see him panic. He's really comfortable in heavy situations. And that's the power of being able to tube ride really well in places like Fiji and Tahiti. It's easy to be intimidated and surf timid, you know, and be in front of it. Someone like Jeremy is very comfortable right in harm's way. Casual tuck under the hood right there. You didn't even see it coming, did you? You know, it just looked like he was mid-bottom turn, and then he just tucked right under it and grabbed his rail. Very casual. Not going to be a giant score, but this will get him back in the mix.
This will be Jeremy's best wave. Was chasing a 9. It won't be enough to see him into the lead, but as we see it again from the channel, it'll narrow the requirement. It's going to need an 8. He banked a 6 for this one.
That's fair.
And Jeremy Flores on the inside, swinging on this one. Again, just takes that line to the bottom of the wave before setting up the tube, grabs that rail, stalling. He'll come through, plenty of speed to use on this section. Lays that board over. And now just chipping away. He'll kick out. And Josh Kerr, he gets spat out of 1. So good wave selection from Kerr. And if he can come through this section, this will be a huge number. We'll get a look at the takeoff in just a moment. 14.5 minutes to go, but how hard is it in that situation, Ross, when you got priority to let that first perfect wave go?
It's really hard, but that's that just shows you how smart Josh Kerr is, because he nailed it. A lot of times, I don't know what the percentage is, but you could say maybe 70-80% of the time the second wave of a set is better. And because the wave is shallower, it really gutters out. Look at this thing. Textbook Josh, just trying to wipe off the speed, and that thing spit really hard. That's always an indication of the wave being square. Whenever you have that big old spit, sort of the signature of waves like Pipeline and Chopu, that means he got absolutely drained, Ronnie.
Air being trapped inside the tube, and often it can project you out of the barrel if you're really deep in there.
Oh yeah, it's the best feeling in the world, especially if, for a surfer, getting spit out of the barrel is the cherry on top. It feels so good. And in front of him, a longer wave here for Jeremy. I love how he kind of navigated and found his line. Picked a really nice line, but not a very long barrel. A couple of nice, clean cutbacks there for Jeremy. But again, it's going to be all about the tube time, so I think Josh Kerr is going to secure that lead.
You're going to see a lot of these regular footers coming out of these barrels and pulling the short leg on their boardies down. Well, we're seeing some vision, a replay of that last wave for Kerr. Really did get spat out of the barrel, a lot of force as he came out of that pit, but it wasn't too deep. It was the next section which served up some pretty good points for Kersey, and he is leading this heat. 9.5 minutes to go. Jeremy Flores is now after an 8.06. Jeremy's just had his best wave of 6.2, but still finds himself in second spot. As we see this inside section Strider was just talking about, Josh Kerr has had his eye on it, and that wave, it just unloaded on the inside. That's that same section of reef we saw Coyote go down heavily on last year, jumping off their board when they're locked into a deep tube. Jeremy Flores and Josh Kerr, two of the best. And here goes Kersey now. He's had his eye on these insiders. He's picked a pretty good line through this one, gets the exit, and looking for more now on the inside. Has really been opening his wings on those backhand carves. Decide for yourself. Do you think he got enough to better his position? He's looking to put away a 6.93 or better.
I like the carve. He got a little more rail in the water that time through some spread.
8.06 needed. Stalls straight away. Finds some cover. This wave looks good. And he hangs in that tube for as long as he possibly can. And he's still going. Just looking to add some extra points down the line. Not a super deep barrel. The hooter sounds, and Jeremy doesn't complete the rebound there. So it's all going to hang on that first tube riding effort.
So tough to slow yourself down. Everything on that wave is trying to push you out into the shoulder, so you have to drag your bum, your knee, your arm to slow yourself to get back in that pit. I'm not sure he got deep for a long enough time.
Our surfer in red, Jeremy Flores, stood up before the hooter sounded.
He was up before the hooter. We know that this score is going to count for Jeremy, but it needed to be the best ride of the heat. Do you think it was?
It's a tough one. I'm anxious to see a replay. It was a nice barrel. It was pretty long, but for the majority of the barrel, you could see his surfboard popping out of it. Right there, that's pretty exciting. He got deep. There's that spit. Beautiful technique. He was trying his hardest to slow up and get back behind a curtain. So I think it's going to be easily his best score. It should be much better than a 6.2, but an 8 is tough to see there.
Not looking good for Jeremy. The number comes through, 6.53, and Josh Kerr dodges a bullet there. He's going to be moving on through to round 4. Jeremy Flores out of the event.